All right, so instead of doing my usual YouTube videos where I'm on my laptop on Miro breaking somebody else's YouTube channel strategy down, I'm here with my client Hans right now, who's currently doing $166,000 per month with the IG profile funnel, and he's looking to add the micro niche YouTube funnel on top of his current stack right now to scale to $200,000 to $300,000 per month cash collected. We're gonna be doing this live right in front of you. There's no script, there's no crazy edits, there's nothing like that. We're just gonna be building this YouTube video from A to Z, with the goal being that the first YouTube video that we post after not posting for a minute is gonna collect 5 figures within the first week. You're gonna see exactly how we think about the entire micro niche YouTube process, building the title, building the thumbnail, building the Miro board itself, and everything in between. And at the end of the video, you're also gonna see Hans documenting posting the video and documenting how much money it collects within the first week. So let's get into it. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about your situation right now.
Yeah, so to give you most of the context, the current revenue in euro is 140,000 a month. That's what we did cash collected in January. In USD, it's 166. Most of the money we are making is from the Instagram. So we have a lot of people being nurtured and I gain a lot of trust from the YouTube. I wouldn't be making money from the Instagram without the YouTube, and it goes like in both sense. And then my market is French coaches.
Okay, and then what do you think the biggest bottleneck is for you right now?
Biggest bottleneck might be the trust. I think we have a huge problem, as I said, like between Instagram and the YouTube. I think most people who buy from me would have never been customers if they didn't look at the YouTube before. So just doing more YouTube videos, as you told me a few months ago, being more intentional maybe about external proof, like customers, case studies, you'll tell me about this. And yeah, Instagram is taking so much mental space and even time. I'm not even able to focus on the YouTube right now as much as I need to. It's on the volume, the quality of the videos. So yeah, that's the main thing that's broken on the funnel right now.
Okay, 100%. Let's get into the breakdown. Just to kind of analyze what you're doing right now, you already have a YouTube channel in place with 2,000 subscribers and 20 videos. And you do already have all 3 funnel stages in place with the top of funnel, the middle of funnel, and the bottom of funnel, right? You're getting people to see you for the first time. You're attracting them, you're getting people to trust you through breakdown videos, and you're converting people too. But you're seeing the formats and you're probably just doing this based on competition, but you're still missing smooth parts of the videos to actually make them as optimal as possible. The first thing that I'm seeing is that the hooks are too broad. You're not speaking directly to your ICP, or you could go deeper than you are going right now. You could be going more consistent on different formats because you've just been format hopping up until now, and viewers don't really know what to expect on the next video. And on the actual conversion side, which is going to be the most important part of it, is a lot of it is empty. You could be going heavier into CTAs on certain videos, especially with student breakdowns like this one right here. You could be going heavier on the case studies inside of your Miro board breakdowns too, because obviously you have these student interviews on your channel, but if we go to a breakdown video like this, you're not going as deep into the breakdowns or into the case studies, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I'm seeing. And you could go deeper into the mechanism itself. Like you're speaking about coaches, you're speaking about scaling to, let's say, 50K a month, 100K a month, but you're not speaking directly about the sort of mechanism that's going to get them there, right? Because you have the company right now, but let's say, for example, here, like, what would you usually say if you're trying to convert somebody? Like, do you bring up a mechanism, or is it more so, okay, I'm going to help you scale to 50 to 100K per month?
Mechanism way more.
Okay.
Especially in the French market.
Okay, so then what would you say the mechanism is that you're using right now?
Yeah, so I help people to get more visibility, to build trust. You know, after, especially in France, you have all the old system, the VSL and all the system. It's not like building trust and then to convert with a lean team. So yeah, hook, build and sell. That's the unique mechanism.
Okay, perfect. And then do you have a Miro board that breaks it down in a super simple stage?
Like on YouTube?
Yeah, that you can just pull up in any part of the video or show to somebody asks you? Or is it more so just like long breakdown videos?
It's a long breakdown. I've like no Miro boards like directly for this.
Okay, so the first thing that I'd say that you need to implement straight away is to have a simple Miro board, maybe 1, 2, 3 steps. Very simple, not that many visual assets on it, and it just breaks everything down from A to Z, what your mechanism is. And whenever somebody asks you, even in a sales call, you can pull it up. During a YouTube video, if you think it's relevant or you want to do a CTA during the video, you can always pull it up, make that CTA, and people know exactly what to expect when they book in a sales call, right? So these are the main things that we're missing right now. And in terms of actually optimizing for them and fixing all of these problems, it's going to come down to 4 things. The first thing is going to be the volume output. The second thing is going to be analyzing the market and doing deeper market research. The third thing is going to be the video structure. And the last thing that we're going to get into is the actual video tracking and new systems that we've been seeing inside of the market. So to kind of start things off, you really haven't been too consistent in terms of uploads on YouTube. You're doing around 1 upload per week. More like every 10 days, right? Like it's not too consistent. So we instantly need to change the upload schedule. What would you say in an ideal world you could do in terms of like uploading to really get the most out of it if you were scaling to 200-300K per month?
I mean, what you already told me, that would be around like 1 video every 5 days, I think. That's the ratio. 6 videos a month, I could do that and like keep the quality and also volume.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think between every 3 to 5 days, a video should definitely be coming out just because of how easy it is to get them out on YouTube and the ROI that you have on the videos. But what do you think the reason is that you're only posting every 10 days right now? Because, you know, the videos, they're collecting cash, they're doing decent already, but you're just not that consistent on them. Why haven't you been posting more up until now?
Maybe for me, it's maybe a limiting belief, but most of the money is coming from Instagram directly.
Okay.
So I'm like, where do I place the time and the focus? I could probably double down with the team on the Instagram, the quality, the volume on Instagram. We're doing, like I told you yesterday, 10 to 15 videos a day. So yeah, the focus I'm putting on Instagram is less on the YouTube. Because I'm doing the videos by myself, like the Canva and everything.
100%. How much percent of the people who actually join the program have seen the YouTube before converting? Do you know?
Like 90%.
90%. Okay, so it's a big side on the conversion mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay, so your YouTube essentially acts as the biggest bottom of funnel, and then your Instagram is the top of funnel. And in terms of the YouTube videos themselves, I mean, if we're kind of going back to it, if 90% of the customers are seeing the videos, it's a brand new channel with 20 videos. Why aren't you testing more formats? Why aren't you posting more then? If you're seeing that it's working and 90% of the customers that are coming into the program are seeing this after they see the Instagram Reels for the first time.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I'm seeing. And another thing that I'm seeing just straight away is if you're having Instagram as the biggest top of funnel and that's the main thing that you're focusing on, your YouTube videos need to be specifically based on what you're seeing inside of Instagram. So have you heard of CloudBot?
No.
Okay, so CloudBot is essentially this brand new AI where you connect it with a Mac Mini. Have you seen that before? Like,
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who is doing
Yeah.
it with the Mac Mini, but I don't know it.
Okay, 100%. So in an extreme scenario, if you want it as good as possible, I would connect the Mac Mini, which can just do research all day via the AI, but you can also open up a ChatGPT folder. And I would train up a new ChatGPT bot based on all of the Instagram Reels, all of the comments you're seeing, all of the DMs you're getting. Look at the biggest objections, the biggest pain points that people are struggling with, and the reasons people aren't converting. Even the sales calls, right? The sales calls that you're getting from Instagram. Upload all of the transcripts into there, all of the setting frameworks, all of the comments, put it into one AI bot, figure out what these people are struggling with most. And since 90% of the people coming through the program are Instagram first, then they see the YouTube. If you position the YouTube content assets specifically for the people who come in through the IG top of funnel, that's going to be the best way to do it. So you're creating it specifically for the Instagram audience. And in terms of making the videos themselves, I know we were speaking a little bit before recording this, but you're making them all yourself right now, right? Okay, so you don't even have a VA?
No.
Okay.
Like I have a VA for the business, but not for like the YouTube.
Okay, so most of the time when I speak to people, they kind of have a VA in place who does some scripting, some Miro boards, whatever. And, you know, obviously that's not working for them. For you, you're in a different situation where maybe the quality of the information inside of the video is good, but what you're probably lacking is you don't have time to be doing it all the time. You know, you have calls, you have different interviews you need to set up, you have different things you need to run inside of the business. So the first thing that I would say straight away is we need to put a VAMO inside of the business who can be pumping out Miro boards just like this one. Now, VAMO essentially just stands for Virtual Assistant Marketing Officer. So you're hiring a VA and you're training them in a way where they can turn into a CMO, but you're not paying a CMO $20,000 a month. You're paying this VA, I don't know, maybe $300-500 a month to pump these Miro boards out. Okay. And this VA is going to be trained specifically on the offer and the ICP. It's going to be able to do a higher output without worse quality, and it's going to be skilled in marketing and copywriting and doesn't really need a lot of management if you train them in the right way. Because at the end of the day, most of the videos and the mechanism that you're selling right now, you're pretty much recycling the same type of content very often, right? And if you're already recycling the content, why would you be the person thinking of the angles when the value is already there? It's more of a low leverage task, right? Because obviously you can think of new value to add into the videos, but because, you know, you're coming up with the ideas of how to position the value, then that doesn't make as much sense. However, you're only thinking about the value that you add inside of the videos, and then you give it to the VA where the VA can position the value, and 80% of the information is already recycled. So a lot of people have the objection, well, the VA is not going to be able to provide good information. But you've already got 20 YouTube videos, hundreds of Instagram Reels that give all of the information. It just needs to copy it onto a Miro board, right? So the way that it works with the VAMO is you find a winning video format, right? Let's say, for example, you find a good title that worked good for somebody else that you want to copy. You find a good thumbnail. You find a video idea yourself, right? So you don't want to outsource the titles and the thumbnails because we're already making niche content and you know how to speak to your ICP in terms of the titles and the thumbnails. But what you specifically want to do is you want to figure this out yourself, 5 to 10 minutes or however long it takes you, and then get the VA to position everything else, right? Make the video itself, because that's what takes the most amount of time in the video creation process. So let's say, for example, here, it could be pre-planning. What types of speaking techniques are you going to be using inside of the videos, right? How are you going to present the information to the audience, right? Is it going to be, well-paced with a variable tone? Are you going to be doing a lot of voice acting? Do you want to do an easy to understand language? Do you want to be very emotional? How do you want to come across inside of the videos? Because that's going to be a big part of the conversion process. Then the biggest thing probably is going to be the video structures themselves. You were even looking at this Miro board that we have right now, and literally 5 minutes before the video, we were together, we were reviewing this Miro board. I was looking at it for the first time because my VAMO built it out in the background. I gave him maybe 1 or 2 voice notes around the information. I gave him references of old videos and old information that I wanted him to recycle, and he built this whiteboard based off of that, right? So obviously, if you're just hiring somebody for the first time and you're just like, look at the competitor, you send them one link to like a Miro board, they don't really know what's going on, which is why over the past few weeks, we've been building out specific video modules that go super in depth for the VA and give the VAs almost a 10-hour training on how to get into the Miro board creation process to begin with, right? So we're actually giving this away out on my Instagram. I'm going to give it to you after this meeting too. And for anybody watching the video, you can just message me on Instagram. I'm going to send this document over. But essentially what you can do with this is you can take all of these modules, give it to the VA. The VA watches them 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, however long it is. Then you give them information around your offer. They can start recycling that. And then based on all of the information that we have here and all of the training modules on how to make these Miro boards, they can go ahead and just start pumping out Miro boards and making them as simple as this. Because with Miro, it really isn't a thing where it's like a massive skill issue. You learn it in 1 or 2 weeks, for example. Yeah. The biggest thing is it takes so much time to actually make these Miro boards, put all of these things together, and you as the business owner can't be doing that because that's not the highest leverage task that you could be doing on a daily basis. And the last thing is, obviously the VA can make the Miro board, and obviously the VA can optimize his speaking techniques in advance, but you need to be the person who's actually positioning the angles. So let's say, for example, you're selling an offer on how to start a dropshipping store, right? And you're selling this offer and you're pretty much making YouTube videos around how to make websites for your dropshipping store. Anybody can watch these videos, and it's super broad, and it's just like, they can watch the video, but it's not specifically for them. They don't feel like you're speaking to them specifically. But you can take that exact same video, change absolutely nothing, but change the title and maybe change the hook a little bit, where you're saying, okay, this is a store build out specifically for supplements dropshipping companies, just as an example. And even though you change nothing around the information itself, the people watching the video think it's more personalized. So as long as you're recycling the old value, which is simple enough for the VA to just make the Miro boards, the VA is the one putting in the time and effort to actually pump the videos out. You position it in a way where this is going to take you 5 to 10 minutes because you've been working with your ICP for so long. You're essentially positioning it in a way where you're the expert in the niche and being more specific. And we're about to get into this in a second. And then obviously just getting the speaking techniques in advance, you're going to have the entire structure for the videos. What's like the biggest question that you say you have right now about this first part?
Should I give them access to what I already built for the customers or the school? So maybe the VMO can go into what I'm talking about, or should I create a new course specifically for them, like for the VMO, like the school like you showed me?
No, so the training that we've put together here, I've built it out with my VAMO, which I've been having for the past 10 months. So almost a year now. And we've just been refining the process. It's pretty much the same in any offer that you sell. Building these Miro boards are pretty much the same. There's just nobody who's actually built an actual course on how to do it effectively yet. So we just built it out, but it's always going to be the same process for pretty much any offer. Any other questions?
What will be the main thing to delegate it quickly as possible? So like the VMO can literally be in my brain to do the YouTube video as good as I would do it by myself.
Yeah. So again, like I was saying before, all of the information that you're giving inside of your videos right now is pretty much just recycled information, right? You're saying the same thing over and over, but you're saying it in a different way, right? Constantly. So all you really need to do is give the VAMO access to all of the old content assets that you have on your channel, get him to review those, especially the stuff that you have inside of the program. Inside of the program, you're recording coaching calls with clients, right? Giving him access to those. He can maybe watch some sales calls to see what the prospects are like. Give him as much information to go through as possible around your offer, because the information is already there. You have the information inside of your brain, which is why you can make videos without using a script, without using ChatGPT, without using anything, because you know the ICP. But the VAMO doesn't know it yet. But anybody who just spends all day long reviewing course modules, reviewing sales calls, reviewing coaching calls, looking at different docs that you have around your offer, and they get enough context, after 5 days, they're going to know exactly what to do inside of the Miro boards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So just to give you an example, with the process that we're doing right now, obviously I'm selling the framework to build out the micro niche YouTube channel. And what I've done is I essentially went A to Z on everything that you need to know about the micro niche YouTube channel. We just started working on this course 2 weeks ago. It's going to be around double to triple as big as this when we actually properly launch it into all of the consulting clients inside of the program. But because I built this out in advance and I built this once, I went super A to Z on the entire process. There's not a single detail that I missed. The VAMO can take a look at this on top of all the content assets, and this is the biggest thing they can reference back to, because all of the videos, you're just going through the process A to Z. A lot of the videos are going to be top of funnel, so it's going to be referring back to this process, and they just dumb it down, right? Because at the end of the day, the stuff that I'm giving inside of my videos, the stuff that you're giving inside of your videos, it's only really like 10 or 20% of what you actually give inside of the program. To actually get results and scale coaching offer to 50K a month, 100K a month, 200K a month requires so much more effort than just, simple top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel videos. It needs to be engineered in a specific way, but that's what a lot of people watching the videos don't realize. So you essentially just need to lay it out A to Z, every single little detail. The VAMO refers back to that, and then you need to make it clear to everybody watching the video that this is only 10 to 20% of what you actually give out inside of the actual value itself, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
All good. Any questions about that?
No, actually, everything is making sense now. So
Okay, perfect. The next important thing that we need to go through is going to be the market analyzation, right? So let's say for you, for example, you're just targeting coaches right now inside of the French market, right?
Exactly.
Are you taking anybody on outside of the French market?
No, actually, only French market. I mean, people who speak French, at least.
Okay, and then all of the offers that you have inside of the program, are they all French offers, or do you have people selling something in English too, or a different language?
Sometime for 120 customers, I had like 2 to 3 people.
Okay, 2 to 3 people, so like 1% pretty much.
Yeah, 1%.
Okay, because I remember we were speaking 3 to 4 months ago, and we were speaking about positioning you inside of a angle where you're obviously inside of the French market, but you're specifically working with coaches outside of the US or outside of France.
Yeah.
US coaches, you're taking the systems and strategies that they have and you're bringing them into the French market. How would you say that kind of like niche down has played out for you so far and how it's been working?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. Like, I think now if we go out there and specifically in the market of like scaling coaches, I'm the only guy who had this like angle of taking US system and bringing all this in France. I would not say that's the only reason why we scale, but this is working at minimum 50 to 60% on the marketing.
100%.
Of why people buy from me.
How much were you doing per month before you implemented that niche down?
When I came, I was at 60 to 70,000 a month.
Okay. And then last month in January, you did how much?
140.
That's euros too, right?
Yeah, euros.
So that's like 160 USD,
Yeah,
exactly. And this is exactly why you need to niche down. One more thing that I would say just off the top of my head, do you say specifically for French coaches, or do you just say systems and strategies from the US market?
I say system and strategies from US market, and I say that I adapt it to the French market, because like if, for example, only buy from people in the US, people in the US don't know like how to say this in English, like they don't know specific things about how French people think, how French people are buying, that's very different than the US. And I'm like, yeah, I know what is working in the US, I've tested that in French, and I know exactly what will be working for you in France,
Yeah, 100%. Because even if I pull up your Instagram right now real quick, so you're taking it from the US, one thing that I would say that you could implement to go even one step deeper inside of the actual niche down is you can say specifically for the French market, because you're not saying that right now, you're just saying systems and strategies from the US market. And the way I would do it is I would have a US flag for you taking it from the US market and make it very clear that you're only selling to the French market, because less than 1% of your customers aren't French, right? So 99% of the customers are French people, so you might as well take that niche down. It's pretty much a free way to make yourself even more authoritative, right? Yeah. Same thing that we were speaking about before with the dropshipping store, right? The guy that's making the video teaching anybody how to build a store is not going to have as good of a result speaking to the person or versus the person who's niche down and he's speaking about building a dropshipping store specifically for people who sell supplements, right? You're a coach helping coaches scale their coaching business, obviously, from systems and strategies from the US market, but you can take it a step deeper and be like coaches inside of France. Those are the only people we're scaling, right? That's an instant thing I'm seeing. And even if we go to the YouTube channel itself, inside of the CTAs and the call to actions inside of the YouTube videos, let's say this last one right here, book one-on-one call with me. Let's go to the website. So here, I would just straight off the bat, I would just let people know, for example, here, my French isn't the best, but it essentially says scaling.
The best infopreneurs.
All right, exactly. So here, simple way to niche it down again, where you can say scaling the best, French infopreneurs using US based strategies, right? Easy way to niche it down. And another thing that I would do is even something as simple as integrating something like your logo into something that has to do with France, or even on your student results page on Instagram, implementing the France logo or them seeing the Eiffel Tower, because obviously you have a place near there. Inside of the description, I would just use France as a much bigger angle, because that's a big reason why people are buying from you specifically, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've something is like when I speak French, anyways, I'm going to attract French people.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, if it will I maximize the impact as much as you, for example, if you say I help people in the US, because when you speak English, you can touch everybody. When I speak French, most of the time it's only French people that come in.
You just need to let them know, right? It's just about saying it. So the biggest angle for you is still going to be the US market. You just need to position it as I'm helping French coaches implement systems and strategies from the US market.
Okay.
That would pretty much be the entire like offer sentence, because you're already speaking French. It's already clear, but you just go a step deeper in terms of the actual depth of the video and the way that they hear it. Because back to the dropshipping video again, right? For like the third time, the guy who's making the video, he can make a video for anybody, right? How to start a dropshipping store. And the video itself could be speaking about how to start a dropshipping store for supplements, right? But he's not using that angle inside of the market. He's not using that inside of the hook. And even though the people watching the video know it's true, he could be using that inside of his top of funnel to get more people to click the videos to begin with, and to get his ICP to click the videos to begin with, right? Because if they see you for the first time on an Instagram reel and you're speaking French and you're speaking about some coaching strategies, it's like, okay, it's just a French guy speaking about coaching strategies, right?
Yeah.
But you just constantly need to be coming back to that sentence of French systems and strategies from the US market, right?
That makes sense.
I'd say, for example, for me, I know the specific problem of my ICP, right? Then I build a solution, which is custom, brand new, and simple to understand, which is obviously the micro niche YouTube funnel. It's the same thing for you. Nobody else has positioned it in the same way as you, where it's specifically US market systems for the French market, right?
Yeah.
But how do you actually build up your business with this small audience? Because we've niched it down, we have this sentence, but now we actually need to implement it inside of our market. So it really comes down to branding and ideation. Now, in terms of branding, it's really just coming down to looking at what the competitor markets are doing. Obviously, you've already kind of positioned yourself in a way where you're looking at the US market, but all of the competitors that you're tracking right now, would you say that they're just competitors inside of the info market, or is it also people outside of the info market?
No, only inside of the info market.
Okay, so one thing that I would instantly recommend you to do is to take competitors who are outside of the info market and just in similar B2B niches. Because what you can do with these people is, even though you're not selling the same offer, you're doing something like the video structures are still going to be similar, right? The way they're selling their offer is still going to be similar, and the marketing strategies which they're using are still going to be similar, so that you can instantly take the things that they're doing and you can be the first one to implement it inside of the coaching industry. Because at the end of the day, the people at the top of the market inside of the coaching industry, how are they innovating? They're looking at different markets, right?
Yeah.
This is how industries get innovated and markets get more sophisticated, right? So you're taking different parts from different coaches and build your own one-of-one brand. Because all of your competition, right, or most of your competition, obviously the top guys are looking at different industries, but everybody else, they're just copying off of each other, and everybody looks the same, and they become a commodity, right? And the second you become a commodity, you make a lot less money. And in terms of the actual ideation of the videos themselves, because obviously, you know, you have the Miro boards, you're getting the VAMO to outsource that, but you still want to be thinking about the way that you're positioning the video, right? The same thing that we were speaking about before with the angle, right? The angle of the video. So you still want to be coming up with titles and thumbnails. The best way to do this is to be tracking your competition in terms of the outliers that they're putting out, right? Let's say, for example, the famous Iman Gadzhi $20 million YouTube VSL, which had something like 10 million views, made like $20 million. He did it for the first time to sell his info product, and there were hundreds of copycats who literally just copied what he did, and you know, they didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They pretty much just copied him, copied the video structure, and it was super simple for him. But obviously, if we look at the two outputs which the video had, which is going to be the lead flow which the person generates and the effort for the person to make it, Iman Gadzhi, the first person to do this, probably like 5 years ago now at this point, he had to put so much effort in to make that video for the first time. And the effort that these people need to put in to build this video is non-linear, because Iman Gadzhi, he needs to get his team to spend 50 hours, 100 hours working on this video. How do we make this title good for the first time? How do we build a structure good inside of the video for the first time? He needs to think of everything for the first time, because he's the person inventing it. But the second person who just copies his video doesn't do anything. He just literally copies his video. There's no inventing, right? He's literally just copying title. Okay, copy it from Iman. Thumbnail. Okay, copy it from Iman. If Iman spends 50 hours, he spends 4 hours. Maybe. But what you need to think about too is, okay, well, you can copy the video, but that doesn't mean money in my bank account, right? This is not doing anything yet. How is it looking on the lead flow side? Well, obviously, Iman's going to get the most amount of leads from this video. But you need to think, okay, Iman spent 50 to 100 hours making this video. He can only make one video like this every 2 weeks. right? You, on the other hand, can make a video every 3 days and still get similar outputs as long as you're tracking Iman, because the first person to copy Iman, let's say he posted the video 3 days after Iman, he's in the same category as Iman, right? YouTube is taking in the same way and it's pushing it to the same audience. So if he spots that trend quickly enough, he's going to get the same output, right? He's going to start getting a linear amount of leads. Now, obviously, Iman's going to get the most, but he's going to get a similar amount just because he spotted that trend early enough. And let's say this person right here, or Ty Lopez, or like, you know, these two girls here, you know, I don't know anything about them, not to judge them or anything like that, but let's say if they copy the video 2 years later, 3 years later, YouTube's seen it a million times. Everybody's copied it. It's not doing anything, right? And it's not generating leads because the market's seen it a million times. Right? That's the biggest thing it comes down to. Now, obviously, Iman's a specific example, but you need to be finding trends inside of the market as quickly as possible. And you need to find a way to actually track the market competitors, right? You don't need to reinvent the system or anything like that.
In the US or in France?
In the US and France, right? Both markets. You just need to be tracking your competitors.
Okay.
I would say specifically for you, just because your branding is already around helping French coaches implement US systems and strategies, I would copy your videos from the US just because it matches the branding and there's not that much competition inside of France to the point where it's like, okay, well, we need, or you can get good enough ideas. So I would take it from the US directly.
If I do this like in French market, copy the not copy them, but, you know, take advantage of the concept, people will see it.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be too obvious, so I have to do it in the US.
Exactly. That's exactly how you need to do it. And then once you have these videos, you just get the title, you get the thumbnail, you still want to change it a little bit. You don't want to copy one-on-one from the competition. And then you take the title thumbnail, you send it to the VAMO, and based on all of the SOPs, based on everything that the VAMO has learned about the offer up until now, they can start building out the Mario board for your offer specifically, and you don't need to worry about that anymore. You can just start filming this video, same way that I started filming this video, and we started looking at it 5 minutes before we actually started recording, because my VAMO built it out in advance based on things and based on information that I provided it in advance. Now, the next step of the process is once you're finding these outliers, posting them consistently, you're giving good value inside of your videos, you need to figure out how you're going to distribute the videos, right? What's your distribution looking like? Now, you already know this because you already have this implemented, is there's 3 types of content. There's top of funnel content, there's middle of funnel content, and there's bottom of funnel content, taking the follower, turning him into a lead, and then eventually a consumer through the bottom of funnel content. But your problem right now, and this is what we spoke about in the start of the video too, is hooks can be too broad sometimes. It's not always speaking directly to the ICP, or you can speak more directly to your ICP in certain times. There's not a consistent enough format because you've only posted 20 times, right? That's a volume game. Viewers don't know what to expect next because you're posting once every 10 days. It's kind of empty. You're not pushing enough case studies. You're not showing enough student results. And there's not really too much of a mechanism inside of the videos, or you could go deeper in the mechanism through building a simple Mario board.
I have a second channel on YouTube, like Anskar's testimonial. So that might help for the case studies, and it's only case studies.
Yeah, I've seen that one before. Yeah, so if I'm looking at your main channel right now, if I go in the video, it's in the description. New clients. Okay, perfect. The only thing that I would say, an instant optimization that I'm seeing, is people watching the video for the first time, right? The biggest part of your audience, the top of funnel audience, which is the videos that you're literally just trying to get views on, they're not instantly going to the second channel. They're not interacting with your Instagram account. They're not doing anything like that because they're first time customers, or not customers, they're first time, like almost like leads. It's their first touch point, right? So they don't even know if you're trustworthy or not. So you can't just be relying on them going to the Instagram account or going to the YouTube in the description. You need to be dropping testimonials and case studies during the video itself, right? Let's say, for example, you're posting this video, we're speaking about it right now. For example, for me, what I could do is I can speak about how we implemented it for a specific client, give like a 20-second story about that, and then they know I have student results. I do that multiple times, 3 to 4 times a video, keep giving examples. They watch 3 videos, they've consumed 12 case studies without ever clicking on a single case study, right? So you're subconsciously getting them sold in the system and getting them to actually trust you. Anytime that I jump on a sales call for anybody who wants to buy my program, it's 20-minute sales call, right? They're like, I've seen so many of your YouTube videos, I already know this process, whatever. They're just ready to pitch, right? And that's exactly what you need to have, and that's exactly what you're going to have once you implement more case studies simultaneously, right? Top of funnel content, simple enough. I don't want to go into this too in depth because you already have this set up to a certain degree. It's just about optimizing it further. But for the people watching the video, your top of funnel audience is essentially just going to be the people who don't know you yet. Their problem is their top priority. But the only reason they're watching your video specifically is because you're the person who's supposed to solve that problem, not because of your personal brand. It's literally just because of the problem, and it's supposed to spark engagement. Your top of funnel videos are the types of videos that are literally just supposed to get views. For me, for example, this would be breakdowns, belief shifting, and entertainment, right? We're essentially capturing attention, giving them memorable visuals through the Mario boards, through the VAMO, using a unique hook, and getting instant authority out of that. And around 50% of your content's aim should literally be to just create top of funnel content, targeting a larger audience, creating awareness, and being more so attention driven. Now, once they see enough top of funnel videos, or they see a top of funnel video for the first time, they're going to click on your channel, or your middle of funnel videos are going to start popping on their home feed, right? Because they've seen the top of funnel video for the first time, and now videos from your channel specifically are going to start getting recommended to them. Now, with your middle of funnel videos, what you're doing is you're just getting them interested inside of a solution. You're in the qualifying phase, right? Making sure that you're filtering the right audience, right? You're gaining the right ICP, and it requires a lot of nurturing, right? So to do this, a majority of this is essentially just gonna be nurturing assets, right? This could be super long form assets like this video right here. You know, we have a video, it's probably gonna go for at least an hour, right? Yeah. We have long form value assets, like I said, proof assets, right? Not specific testimonials where you're sitting down, you're filming a client review, but more so just reviewing processes. Something like this, where if I break down a case study, right? That's simple, middle of funnel video, and contradicting videos, right? For example, like here, I have a contradicting video, F ads, F Instagram, 0 to 58K a month in 92 days with YouTube funnel, right? Just a super simple example, right? So I'm contradicting what the rest of the market is saying. And you can obviously make a video like this, get the top of funnel views by saying something crazy. And when they click on the video, it's not as crazy as they thought. And then you can actually come off as a trustworthy individual. This is actually what William Brown was doing too. Yeah. In the start, right? He had this thing, he was speaking about it. It's called the jockster effect. Yeah. Right? Where he had crazy videos, right? Crazy titles, crazy thumbnails. People click on the video, they're like, what is this guy talking about? Crazy numbers, like what's going on? They're almost trying to hate on it, like almost pick on it, because it's like, this might be entertaining. When they click on the video itself, he's actually like a pretty smart guy. He's going into the concepts. It's no BS. He's not trying to sugarcoat anything. Yeah. And so it turns them through, he just gets the clicks. He uses it for the clicks, but he's still able to nurture those people in the right way. And the goal here is to essentially figure out why they can't get to the desired outcome. You need to position your unique mechanism as the solution, break all of their false beliefs, and get them to their dream vacation, destination, dreamland, like whatever you want to call it. And this is supposed to be 30% of your content. So essentially just build familiarity, build social proof, and push your unique mechanism. And the last step of the process at the very bottom of the funnel, or the content funnel, is going to be the bottom of funnel content. And this is essentially just to get people who are ready to buy. They already know that your solution works, and you just need to provide proof, right? So here again, main content style is really just going to be pushing down in student interviews. And in your student interviews, you need to be very specific with the types of questions you're asking. If you just go on ChatGPT 5 minutes before a student interview and you're like, give me 5 questions, that's not the way it's going to work, and that's not the way it's going to convert well for you. The best way for you to actually conduct student interviews is you need to look at your sales calls, like I was speaking about before. You need to look at your DMs. You need to look at the comments. What are people saying the most? What are people not trusting about your offer? What are people, slightly concerned about? And then you ask the students inside of your program, and they answer those objections for the prospects directly. Yeah. And then obviously just VSL style videos, where essentially it could be a 10-minute video, 20-minute video. And even if it looks like a Mario board, and even if it doesn't look that scripted, this video is going to have a very specific format and a very specific framework to the video, where you're slowly but truly converting them. And by the end of the video, if they're somewhat interested inside of your program, you're going to get them to be like, hey, now's the right time. Let me book in that call, right? That's the simplest way to do it. But if you do this too much, you're going to break trust with your audience. They're not going to be interested, because this content isn't that interesting. It's purely to convert people, right? So it's just spamming case studies and very offer focused, right? And the focus here, give a strong reason to believe or benefit to take action, build real FOMO or urgency, and take them off the platform, right? Take them off of YouTube, not watching another VSL, not another Mario board video. You want them to book a call there and today, right? Simple as that. And from there, you can essentially convert them and use a VSL page, or even the page that you're using right here.
Is my page good? Like this?
Do you know what your close rate is?
For this?
Yeah, off the top of your head.
Between 6 to 11%.
6 to 11%?
Yeah, like click and then booking. I'm talking like 6 to 11% of people.
6 to 11%. And then the people who book in, do you know how much percent of them pay you?
Yeah, that would be hard to give you an idea, but...
The close rate.
From YouTube?
No, let's just say from everything. Like everybody...
No, it's only from YouTube.
Okay,
so it's like minimum 70 to 80%, because like the few people who book in from the YouTube, they just come to buy. They don't even come for closing call,
Yeah, okay, perfect. So if it's already 70 to 80%, I wouldn't change it. The only time where you really need to implement a video sales letter is when your close rate is low and the people coming onto your course aren't educated. But the good thing about the micro niche YouTube funnel is that they're all breakdown videos, they're all Mario board videos, and it's working well right now because this type of video is trending, and they learn so much about your mechanism while going through the videos. The only time where you really have that objection and you need a crazy funnel is if all of your marketing is super top of funnel, right? It's like a Lamborghini and I don't know, there's like some crazy mansion, and that's how they're getting leads, right? But at the end of the day, that type of way of selling is kind of dying out slowly but surely, and that's what it kind of comes down to. So So once you have the formats in place and you have the market analyzation, so you know who you're selling to, you have the guy who can build out the buyer boards, and you have all of the formats, the next step of the process is essentially just going to be to get a good video structure for the videos. Because just posting videos and just getting views doesn't mean that you're going to get conversions out of it, right? This is what you were kind of speaking about before. Obviously, you've only posted 20 times, so you haven't had enough times to test directly, but I would still say that this is a big aspect of the videos. So in specific, if you want to get good at conversions, you need to focus on the fundamentals, right? The first thing is thumbnail and title. You're not trying to convert them, right? You're just giving them a clear promise for what the video is going to be, right? Obviously, you can optimize your title, you can optimize your thumbnail, but your title and thumbnail needs to be the same thing that's going to come on the video. If you make a video speaking about here's how to scale your coaching business to 100K per month, but they click on the video and it's a video about how to close sales calls, it's like, what are we doing, right? Now, obviously, this is the most broad example ever, right? But exactly what you say inside of your title and exactly what they see on the thumbnail, in the first 15 to 30 seconds, they need to realize that that's exactly what they're going to be getting when they actually watch the video, right? When they watch it all the way through. Even if it's a little bit off, that's going to have a big difference on your hook and the amount of retention that you have in the start of your video. Now, in terms of the actual intro itself, you just need to give them the 5 big pillars of the actual content itself, which is you dropping your authority, giving them the promise, right? The promise being similar to the title and thumbnail, giving them the proof that this actually works, or even if you're not mentioning a case study, or even if you're not speaking about your own numbers, you're going to need a pillar of proof. You need urgency for them to actually watch the video. Why would they not just click off and watch a different video?
How can I create like the urgency?
The urgency in terms of the videos, you just need to let them know like this is working right now. And especially inside of the info coaching space, the biggest thing is that the strategies are constantly changing. And it's not just info coaching. I'd say like make money, business side in general, just online. Strategies are constantly changing. Like every 3 to 6 months, it's one of the most competitive markets in the entire world because everybody's trying to do it. Right? It's very hard to do, but if you crack it, it's like the best business model. You can live wherever, do wherever, and obviously make money online. So you just need to let them know that the market's constantly getting more sophisticated, and you need them to understand that them watching this video right now is going to be a top priority for them. Let's say, for example, for this video right here, a lot of people watching this video might already have an IG profile funnel in place, but they're going to realize that, okay, I'm collecting cash. I might be happy with my situation, but they're going to be figuring out how do I actually scale this, right? And the problem with the IG profile funnel is not that it's a bad funnel because it works really well, but you can only scale it to a certain point. And at some point, you need to add more touch points to your funnel. And a lot of people, they're going to hit 100K a month, 200K a month, maybe even up to 300K a month on like super top month, right? I've seen some IG profile funnels hit that, but they can't really scale beyond that. They need more touch points to scale beyond that.
More trust
And more touch points, right? More platforms to see the content on, more documents for them to review and etc. And then obviously you just tweaking the belief systems so that you can make sure that the stuff that you're speaking about inside of the video is actually relevant to them. Because if I make this entire video speaking about the micro niche YouTube funnel and every single person in the market, let's say hypothetically, thought that the micro niche YouTube funnel didn't work, and I'm making this entire video speaking about it, and I'm not even giving any results in the start of the video, and I'm not showing any proof, and I'm not giving any hook, nobody's going to watch the video. It doesn't matter how good the video it is, right? Or versus a market, let's say, for example, everybody in the market knew that the micro niche YouTube funnel was working extremely well, then it's very simple to sell the process, right? And I don't need to go that heavy on the hook, but that's just coming down to understanding the ICP and understanding where the market stands. Just to give you an example here, a few months ago, do you remember when Brez Scales was scaling his freelance brand scaling offer? Obviously, it's not doing as well right now, and I think they're revamping it and changing some strategies, but at the very pinnacle of it, I'd say 6 months ago, or maybe even a little bit before that, they were doing $1 to $2 million a month cash collected. And pretty much anybody who came into that market and started posting videos on YouTube around freelance brand scaling, they would instantly make money because everybody in the market already had the belief. Everybody knew it would work. You don't even need to give that much explaining. Same thing with a lot of the guys selling, the growth operating offers. It worked extremely well because Iman Gaji, he just ran the event a few months ago, speaking about shadow operating, right? He pushed it to his entire audience, went super hard on the campaign, and it didn't matter how bad your content is or how much you know about shadow operating or growth operating or whatever you're going to call it. You would simply make conversions because there was so much belief inside of the market, which Iman already did for you. And even if your breakdown's that bad or your hook's bad, it doesn't matter. But most of the time, you still want to be optimizing for this, and it's never going to be bad to change their beliefs.
For example, for me, how could I use beliefs?
I mean, what would you say that the biggest limiting belief is for a lot of the people coming inside of your funnel, inside of your program?
So what I was saying, in my market, the main thing I see is limiting belief about speed. So they come on the sales call sometime and they're like, I need to scale to 50,000, 100,000 a month in 8 months or by next year. You know, they put on the pedestal how much time it is necessary to scale. They think they need more views.
Yeah.
And not a better ratio between, you know, how much views they make and how much money. And another one is, US market. So it's like, US market, US system are not working in France. You know, I'm going to stick to the old system, the VSL, the basic one, and I'm not going to like come to you and let you coach me.
Okay. So the first thing that you need to do in that situation is you need to figure out where that belief essentially stems from, right? If they're like, okay, I want to continue working on, let's say, the video sales letter funnel, right? Or I want to keep running the funnel that I'm running right now. You need to firstly acknowledge them, right? You can't just be like, no, don't do that, whatever. They need to feel heard. So you need to ask them like, okay, why do you have that belief, right? You can ask them straight up, how has it been working out for you? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, yeah, it's been okay, 5 to 10,000 euros a month for the past 6 months, 12 months. And then you can essentially just be like, okay, well, obviously that system isn't working for you right now. Why do you think it's going to start working all of a sudden? They're not going to have an answer, right? So you can obviously tell them that it's going to require a change. And a lot of times with the sales calls, same thing that I was telling you about before, you need to build a GPT bot, which has all of the sales calls, all of the DMs flows, all of the comments in one place so that you can figure out what the exact objections are inside of the content and use that inside of your hooks, right? Use that inside of the intro. Let's say, for example, we're speaking about views, right? I'm going to get into this a little bit later inside of the video. You have access to the same software as well that tracks exactly how much money we're making per YouTube video, right? And exactly how many calls it's booking, how many leads it's getting, what the conversion rate is on that video specifically. But the biggest thing here with this specifically is you just need to break the belief, and it's as simple as giving them the proof. With the views, for example, if you're saying, if their belief is that they need a lot of views to make a lot of money, in the first 15 seconds of the video, you need to show them a video for you, let's say that has 2,000 views, 3,000 views, you know, however many views that it is. And you need to give an exact example of how much it cash collected for you and that it actually works for you specifically, right? Let's say, for example, you had a video with 2,000 views, it collected $15,000 USD, right?
Yeah.
If you can prove that in the first 15 seconds of the video and they can't deny that proof anymore, it's legitimate, it's a fact, whatever, then they're not going to be able to say anything at that point. You know what I mean? That's literally, it's just going to be a fact, right? There's nothing else that they can do. And then you're going to break their belief, and you need to do that before the sales call, because the less limiting beliefs they have on the sales calls, the less objections it is, the shorter the sales calls are, the more effective and the higher close rate you're going to have on the sales calls, as well as the more cash you're going to be collecting up front and less installments, right? Now, the second that you have this, you need to obviously back it up, right? You don't just want to be filming from like some, I don't know, 2010 laptop on Loom, the old version, and having like a bad Miro board or, you know, whatever else that it could be. The biggest thing that it comes down to here is making sure that you can back it up with a video quality. Same thing that we're doing right here. We're constantly trying to innovate, staying professional, but not being too professional to the point where it's something where it's like corporate and people don't want to watch it. And then obviously the environment itself, right? Keeping good backgrounds, speaking in an interactive way, all of these things, they come together to make the video good, because you can have the best video in the world, but if you present it in a way where it's not that interesting or nobody wants to watch it, then nobody's going to watch it, right? It comes down to that. So you really need to drill down on these things. And when you're providing the value to them, right, you simply follow the same process all of the time throughout the videos, right? To hook them constantly, the same thing throughout the videos. Every 3 to 5 minutes, you're presenting a new problem. When you present that problem that hooks them in, you give them examples of that problem where you kind of simplify it. You give them the lesson out of the problem with details, and then it happens the same thing again, right? We're constantly repeating this cycle right here. So let's say, for example, for an average YouTube video, or even with this YouTube video right here, if we're really just breaking it down, let's say this is the first 3 to 5 minutes, and then this is minute 5 to, let's say, 10, and then this is minute 10 to 15, and this is minute 15 to 20, right? We're constantly repeating this loop, and you constantly need to be repeating problem, example, lesson if you want to have an effective sales funnel, right? That's essentially what it comes down to, because this is the biggest retention technique you can implement. You can do a million different techniques, but for Miro board videos, it doesn't make sense to overcomplicate it. Problem, example, lesson, that's all you really need. And to actually provide this to the VAMO, so the VAMO knows exactly what to do and exactly how to present this, you can give them a brain dump, right? This can be a simple Loom video, this can be a simple voice note, this can be a Google Doc that you're giving them. They're going to have questions about it, so you're going to clarify it to them in the DMs or over a call or whatever. And the biggest thing that a lot of people are lacking, and that I'm seeing us implement more and more for myself, and especially more and more for clients inside of our consulting and done for you offer too, is personal anecdotes, right? If you're speaking about, I don't know, close rate being a massive issue, right? You can speak about, I don't know if you speak about this yet, but let's say, for example, even 6 months ago, I know a lot of the time we were speaking, what was the biggest thing that you were struggling with at that time?
6 months ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like creating authority in B2B ads, just coming in the market.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who I was. I didn't have no proof, like external proof of it, even me as an internal proof. So you're just doing a place in the market and creating authority.
Okay. But let's say like business aside, right? I know like 6 months ago you were in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then 6 months ago in Dubai, when you were first launching up the business and you were first building that authority, do you have like some kind of like funny story or like any story that you can tell around that time frame?
Around like when I was in Dubai and trying to create more authority.
Yeah. Like anything that happened to you, I don't know, you got stuck in a train, like I don't know, like whatever.
No, I was not stuck in a train. No train in Dubai. But the problem, I mean, that's pretty funny. I think everybody know that I was on a sales call.
Yeah.
This is a competitor actually. He came in a call, asked for all information, gave me the information for his LLC, so I can do the invoice and just leave the call instantly and blocked me everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So that's one example
Yeah.
that you can bring up. And how many times have you spoken about that inside of your content?
Never.
Why not?
I don't know, bro. I was like, maybe it doesn't make any sense for me to talk about it.
But do you have coaches inside of the program who struggle with that same thing?
Yeah.
So why don't you speak about it?
Yeah.
Right? You can instantly relate with them and build that personal connection. It doesn't always have to be a breakdown video. It can also be personal anecdotes like that, right? And things like that are going to be the things that are actually going to build the connection with the audience, past simply just the content, right? And then obviously we're putting the videos together in terms of the actual call to action inside of the videos and converting them. Usually it's going to be very simple. You want to be giving the right messaging, give the right emotional triggers, incentivize them, handle the objections, and ideally you're handling the objections before the CTA even happens, right? Based on sales calls, based on conversations, based on everything. Then you're promising and you're giving the offer, right? What are you giving the prospect in return for acting, right? Booking the sales call, opting into the funnel, DMing you on Instagram, whatever the next step inside of the funnel is. And then you're positioning it in the right way, right? Where are you placing the CTA? What are the visual implications? Whatever else that it could be, right?
Yeah.
These are all extremely important aspects of the CTA. And a lot of people underlook this and they just focus on making the video as good as possible, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of people watching YouTube content, and the reason why it works so well is they're coming into it with a mindset of, I can just binge content and just watch it for free, right? They're not coming into the mindset of, let me go on YouTube and find a coach who's going to help me. Now, some people obviously are, but 95% of people are just binging content, and you're just creating an ecosystem that is going to allow them to binge enough content to the point where they're going to feel stupid not paying you at some point, right? That's all we're doing. So you need to focus on CTAs as heavily as possible. That's like the biggest thing.
Okay.
And then the last thing of the entire process is really just going to be data management, right? On the data management side, what does your process look like right now?
Like, how do I track the KPIs?
Yeah, what are you doing right now in terms of like KPIs?
I have a Google Sheet. You actually put me in like relationship with Leo. That's Leonardo.
Yeah.
So he did me like the dashboard like this. I don't have exactly the same one, but that's very similar. And I have like multiple SaaS. So as I told you, for the setting, or even Trackio for the tracking for the YouTube. So yeah, that's how we see all the KPIs of the business.
Okay, 100%. I feel like this is the biggest thing that a lot of people struggle with, right? Let's say, for example, in the start of the month, do you have meetings with your team where you're speaking about KPIs? Not just like, okay, I want to hit 200K this month, 300K this month, but what the close rate needs to be this month, what the offer rate needs to be this month, what the AOV needs to be this month based on previous data from the dashboard and all of your other tracking systems?
Actually, no. Like, we talk about the goals, we talk about the KPIs of last month, but we don't talk about the aimed KPIs for, the coming months.
Okay, so that's one thing that I would say that you can instantly implement. This is going to be extremely important. Setting the KPIs in the start of the month, retrieving that data, iterating it based on the data that you're getting, right? So let's say, for example, you set the KPIs. So let's say close rate in the past month is 29%, right? And you realize, okay, this is what we're doing wrong. This is what we had wrong in all of the sales schools, and this is how we can improve it to get it to 35%, right? The first step here is obviously you need to figure out what is the close rate to begin with, right? You need a system to track what the close rate is. So, okay, most people don't even know what their close rate is. You need to know what it is exactly. 29%. Okay, perfect. Now it's 29%. Same thing I was speaking about before. Now, why is it 29%? Analyze the sales calls. What went wrong in the setting framework? How can you nurture them more before the call? What pre-call flows can you add before the call? And then you're iterating it based on the data you're seeing, based on the 29% close rate that you're seeing. Then obviously analyzing it through sales calls, everything like that, identifying the flaws inside of the process. What are you doing wrong inside of the sales calls? What are you doing wrong inside of the setting process, whatever it could be? And then you're actually implementing it, which is going to be the actual output, right? But you can only do this once you understand exactly what numbers you have inside of the business so that you know what you can improve. And the biggest thing that we're working on right now is really the tracking side of the YouTube videos. I know we just got this implemented for you. I just know that a lot of people watching don't have this system yet, where per every single YouTube video that we upload, we can see exactly how much cash collected, how many bookings that video specifically got, how many form submissions that video specifically got, how many tracking links, clicks it got. So then obviously we can track the close rate on it too. We can see all of the recent leads. We can see every single funnel stage and every single funnel process that the lead went through. And we can see everything A to Z. And so using this information, we can frame our sales calls in a different way where we see, did they watch one YouTube video where we need to give them more education on the sales call, give the closer that heads up, or did they watch 5 YouTube videos and it's probably a super simple close? And even just in general, the videos that generate you the highest amount of bookings, the highest close rate, the highest show rate, you can just make those videos over and over again, and based on that information, just because you have that information, make better YouTube videos that convert better. Because at the end of the day, with this entire micro niche YouTube funnel system, we're not going for views, we're specifically going for conversions. We're specifically building this ecosystem that is actually going to convert clients. So just based off everything that we spoke about today, do you have any questions about any of the process that I can go through with you today?
Let me go on the notes and tell you: delegate to the VMO, training to delegate for YouTube, old contents, 10 to 20% French coaches. Yeah, like how could I improve my bottom of funnel? What could I do to get better bottom of funnel for the YouTube?
I honestly wouldn't even say that your bottom of funnel is terrible, because you're doing a lot of testimonials, you're doing them in person too, which is extremely good. How are you curating the questions for these videos though? That's the main question that I would ask myself, because this is a 40 minute interview. Obviously you asked a lot of questions. What questions specifically did you ask within this interview?
Yeah, I think main thing I did, that's maybe a mistake, is I asked a lot of questions about the business, but not like how much, how to say this, impact we already had before doing the interview.
Okay.
Like you, for example, did like we talked about this before, you was at this much money before we started working together. So maybe ask more questions to make sure like they talk about how much impact I had for them.
Okay, so then the questions you were asking, were you kind of just freestyling them to kind of learn more about the business and give the viewers the perspective, almost like a case study breakdown?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the biggest reframe that I would have inside of these videos, and the biggest difference that I would make, is the people watching these videos, the people watching student interviews to begin with, they know that they're not really going to get value out of it, right? They know that these types of interviews, they just want to see if you're legit, right? This is just the last step that they're looking for before they book a sales call, right? Does this guy actually have results? Does he know what he's speaking about? So they're not looking for another breakdown. They're looking to see if you were the guy they can trust to, let's say, for example, scale their coaching business. So the questions that you need to be asking here need to be the exact same questions that the prospects are asking themselves before they book the call, right? Because at the end of the day, they're not just going to book the call because they're like, okay, there's this kind of gap inside of my content. Like, I don't understand this. I don't know this about this person's offer. Let me just book a call with him and find out. Most high-level people and the people that you probably want to attract don't have that type of personality. They're not just going to book people off of that. A confused prospect is never going to buy, right? The only people booking sales calls are people that are clear that you are going to be the person who's actually going to help them, or at least clear that your mechanism is something that they're interested in, right? So the questions that you ask here literally just need to be objections that you get inside of your sales call. Based on all of your sales calls, how many sales calls do you take a month?
I don't take a lot of sales calls anymore. I just take like the 12,000, most qualified people, but
I mean your closer. Within the whole entire company.
This month, we're on track to 40 to 60 calls booked. So way less than before.
Okay, and then from those 40 to 60 calls booked, how many objections would you say that people have per call?
Generally, it's just one objection. It says that like, we need to think about it. Money is a problem. This one is like tricky. I'm going to compare with somebody else.
Okay. So for example, the comparison to anybody else, or comparison for them to, go with somebody else, what do you say on those sales calls?
Sometimes we just ask them, like, sometimes they already did the call before with other people, and we're like, why didn't you pay them? Why are you on the call? What was the missing piece like from those people? We try to identify some things they are lacking, and then we go all in about those things to close them. And if they have a call next week with somebody else, we're like, okay, what is missing and why do you need to compare if you're already sure that we can help you?
Yeah.
There is for sure something missing. And either we tell them to book a call with the competitor, we send them a loom, where tells them like, why would they buy from me, and that's it. That's the most tricky objection we get, is like, I'm going to compare with somebody else, competitors.
Yeah, I'd say the two biggest ones for you probably are just the comparison objection and the think about it objection. So we went over the comparison one. How do you handle the think about it objection?
Think about it is just the most basic way of handling. It's what do you need to think about? Let's go. Let's speed win. Let's go straight up. We are both entrepreneurs, so tell me clearly what you're thinking about. Is it really a problem that you really need to think about, or do you just have a problem of money? Most of the time it's just money. Or again, they are hiding that they're going to compare. So like the think about it is either redirect to the money or the comparison problem.
Okay. And then, based off of, if they say they're going to think about it, probably 5 different new conversations are going to come based off that. With your closures and that process there in general, would you say that you're doing everything that you can be doing right now to handle those objections, and giving the closers the most amount of, I guess you could say, like objection handling frameworks and reviewing as many sales calls as possible? Is that part of the process fully dialed in
before the call, or giving the closer as much tools for the call?
Giving the closer as much tools as possible. Like, for example, you can take a sales call, right, and you can not close a customer, and at the end of the sales call, sometimes it's going to be a situation where I didn't do everything that I could have done, right? I could have performed better, I could have been more interactive, I could have spoken better to the lead to actually close the client, and I was so close to closing it, right? I could have done it. He had the money money, but whatever happened, right? Or it can be a situation where you were at your best performance with the sales calls. You knew exactly, okay, the objection handlers that I gave during this sales calls were, the best ones that I could have given. There was literally nothing else that I could have done. It was fully down to the lead. Where would you say that you're at in that process with, let's say, for example, the closer? Is he doing everything he can be, or is there more that he can be doing?
I mean, what is doing everything?
Let's say, for example, at some point there's just enough objections that come up, right? And instead of him making up things on the spot, he has a framework for all of them. Or even just in general, like he could have went deeper with the lead before they got into the objections, right? To not have that objection to begin with, right? Just the entire sales call framework. Because if they have money, there's always going to be a reason for them not to want to do it, right? Would you say that you're doing everything and have a 90% plus close rate on people that have money?
I mean, yeah, we don't have a frame for the objection, so we could definitely do this and have something clear when somebody say, I'm going to compare, or when somebody's saying, I'm going to think about it, to have more clarity about it.
100%. That's one thing that I would definitely instantly go deeper on. And the other thing that we could definitely go deeper on is taking those sales calls, uploading those sales calls again, like I'm speaking about before, to ChatGPT, or even just on group calls that you have with your team, that you have with your sales team, analyzing those calls with them, right? Going in depth onto why those calls specifically didn't close. And then you can think of objection handlers yourself. You can think of, GPT ideas yourself. And then those exact questions, the exact questions that they're asking you, you need to bring into your student interviews, right?
Yeah.
Those are the exact questions. You need to act like the prospect inside of the student interviews. You need to imagine that your prospect is a closer that's trying to convince you, and you're the prospect inside of the student interview. And you're the most skeptical person in the world about the program. You need to act as if you're the person who's about to buy the coaching program inside of the interview, but you're extremely skeptical. That's what it comes down to. So you can't just be asking about their business. You need to be a skeptical prospect ready to piff, has the money in the bank account, but is so skeptical and doesn't want to do it.
Bro, we've seen this during the last few days, and that's pretty weird because we never had this much proof. People are very skeptical to pay.
Exactly.
For the last few days. So maybe act like them in the videos.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a very big thing. So do you have any further questions about the entire breakdown that we went through?
No, actually, it's pretty clear, bro. Yeah, I'm going to especially upload all the information of my business under the ChatGPT or even the Mac Mini. And yeah, implementing all of this and making more money. It's also the skeptical, during the last few days, we've made money, but the closing rate is way lower than last month. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it could kind of be a fluke, right, if it's just a few days, but I think the biggest thing is it really comes down to proof, right? That's a really big thing that we're noticing in the info market right now.
External proof.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to do this more. Also, I've been less focused on story sequences, but yeah, for the YouTube, that's perfect, bro.
100%. Well, we'll do an update in, I don't know,
Perfect.
90 days. We'll see what
Update
happens.
at 300,000 a month. Minimum.
Exactly. Minimum. 500,000 a month.
500,000 minimum.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I'm here on my laptop right now, and we've already figured out and indicated what type of video we want to make. Top of funnel video with bottom of funnel aspects for the conversion rate, and just being very conversion heavy as we're trying to do 5 figures in the first week with this video alone. Now, we're going to put a few more notes together. This is just what I have off of the presentation we did at the start of the video, and then we're going to get into how we're going to make the title, how we're going to make the thumbnail, how we're going to script the hook, how we're going to make the value itself, and then how we're going to do the CTA of the video. Now, obviously, I kind of just want to start with getting a little bit more notes around the topic, just so that we can make the best title possible. So obviously, we've kind of gone into French market that helps US market, breakdown videos step by step. I think we just need to go a little bit more in depth. Right now, the first thing is French market helping the US market. On this side, let's go a little bit more in depth. Let's say, for example, how much did you invest into US coaches in the US market? How much have you invested?
200,000.
Okay. Do you have an exact number, or is it just ballpark 200,000?
I mean, exact number is pretty hard, but 200, you can say anything about it. Last investment I did, 220.
Okay, let's say $220,000 invested into the US market. Okay. Around this, you've invested into every type of coach, right? Helping you with traffic, helping you with conversions, helping you with the middle of funnel, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't really go that much deeper there. Obviously, step-by-step breakdown again. Is there anything specific that you're seeing here? Any other angle that we can take in terms of the actual title?
I mean, main thing I saw that is working is on Instagram and that could be working on the YouTube is I'm giving multiple principles from multiple people. So for example, Alex, he told me to do that from the YouTube. Jeremy told me to do that for the ads, blah, blah, blah. Principle is working pretty good.
Okay, 100%. So principles, 220,000 investing in the French market, and then break down videos step by step. And then what would you say the biggest thing is right now for people who are, buying the mentorship, let's say in the past month?
What do you mean, like biggest things that had impact for them?
Yeah, like what's the biggest reason why they're investing into you and let's say, for example, not somebody else?
US, bro, to be honest.
Literally
US
just US.
market, like the main thing I repeat a lot in my videos is speed to win. So they want to be part of somebody who's like believing in going fast and not being slow and accepting being slow. That'll be like US angle, and we see that you have like a quick growth, and we want to be part of this.
Okay, 100%. Anything else that we can just use off the top of your head?
Yeah, the return on investment maybe. Like my most popular YouTube video, the title is How I Scaled to 100,000 a month by investing 90,000 in the US. So maybe like talking about what is the impact.
With micro niche YouTube videos, what usually ends up working the best is being all lowercase and doing something a little bit controversial. So the effect that we're essentially using, and the reason micro niche YouTube videos work so well to begin with, is because we're using the jockster effect. Now, what the jockster effect does is we're doing something crazy in the title, right? We're kind of almost framing it in a way where it's like, it's too good to be true, where this guy is probably, full of shit, or like whatever else that it could be. But when they click on the video, we're completely flipping it on them. And it's like, okay, the title is super crazy, the thumbnail might be super crazy, but when we watch the video itself, it's actually a very informational video that goes step by step and actually genuinely helped me. So we want to follow the same framework. We want to be a little bit crazy inside of the title. We want to, keep it all lowercase. Obviously, we just want to keep it simple. So based off of this, the main thing that I'm seeing is obviously the US market, right? This is the biggest angle that we have when it comes to this. The French market, the 220 invested, and honestly just the age. I think if we add much more than that, it's kind of going to get complicated for the viewers. So you said the one that worked for you in the past was How I Scaled to 100K a month, investing 90K into the US market. Okay, so what I would probably recommend is using a popular format, right? This is something that we go over inside of the consulting offer too, that we offer, but we show, a bunch of different outliers. For example, in the consulting offer, we post 20 to 30 outliers per week, and you don't even need to be in there to really know this, but if you spend enough time, let's say you're putting in hours every single day researching, then you're just going to see enough niche YouTube titles that are going to make sense for you specifically. So for example, right now, I see a few trends in the niche YouTube space. First off, any video that we start with a fuck it in the start of the video always performs better every single time. For some reason, it just gives a crazy boost. And at the end of the video, what people like to hear is, because it's obviously educational, is we want some kind of CTA for them to be like, okay, I can just watch this video and copy it for myself. So for example, copy me works well in brackets, step by step works well. And yeah, kind of things along these lines, right? So that they feel like they can do it themselves. And obviously this is a breakdown video, so this makes it perfect. So I would definitely start this with a fuck it. And then after that, I want to use the same angle as before.
Fuck it in French. What is like the equivalent?
Well, we'll find an equivalent. Do you have like damn it or something along those lines?
Yeah, maybe putain. Putain can walk.
Yeah, let's do something along those lines. Just something where it's like damn it, right?
Yeah.
Just like kind of like using a swear word, right? After that, I would take the same angle, right? I would be like, spent $220,000, right? Just use almost like a random number. So it's not a random number, obviously the number that we have initially, but just make it seem super specific to them. Yeah. Spent $220,000 on US coaches. I copied this to scale to 166K per month. Now, the next step of the process that is extremely crucial, and I see so many people do wrong, is we need to make sure that we're within YouTube's CTR limit. So all you need to do is you need to go in ChatGPT and ask it how many characters, then you place the title of the video, and we're going to be able to see how long it is. You typically want to be between 60 and 80. That's kind of like the sweet spot. So for example here, 73 characters, this is, pretty much perfect, right? Now, I would say that we take this title, fuck it, spend 220 on US coaches. I copied this to scale to 166K a month. What we could potentially add is at 18. Right? Or are you 19 now?
Yeah, 19.
Okay, so let's say at 19.
Unfortunately, 19.
Yeah. So I think this is enough, right? This is going to put us right around 75 characters. It is a little bit over what we usually want to be at, but I think that we have so many elements inside of the title that it's going to make it interesting enough to the point where it makes more sense to include it than keep it out. Yeah. Now, in terms of this title, is there anything specific that you'd want to change to it that you just see from the first glance, kind of just getting a second perspective?
Bro, I would say, like, now it's like 73 characters. I think in French it's way too much characters. Like, maybe see when we translate that much characters and do like an adapted like version to French.
Okay, so let's do an adapted version real quick. So I'd still definitely want to keep this. The key element is essentially going to be breaking it down. The key elements inside of our title, if we're just looking at it objectively, is the effort in the start of the video and the copied this, right? This is the main thing that I was telling you about before. We want to hook them, and then we want them to realize that this is actually step by step. So I would just remove the spent, right? $220,000 on US coaches. I copied this to scale to 166K a month at 19. I still want to make this a little bit shorter. I would remove the 19.
Yeah.
19. I copied this. Is anything else that you see that we can take off straight away?
No, I don't think so, bro. I think that's the main thing.
Let's see. Character count. All right, so the next step is we need to see exactly how many characters are inside of this title. We obviously made a shortened version, so in French, this is probably going to be, anywhere from 70 to 80, I'd say, and this should be sub 70. Let's just make sure that that's actually accurate. All right, so 67 characters, exactly. This is going to be good, right? Yeah. You're going to have 70 to 80 in French, and I think this is going to be a good shortened down version. Cool. Now, the next step of the process is going to be figuring out how we can position this inside of a thumbnail. Now for thumbnails, I typically like to use Canva just to make a quick design. The biggest thing is that we want to incorporate all of the elements here, but we don't just want to be copying what's already inside of the title. We need to show different things inside of the thumbnail. Let me pull up Canva. Cool. So this is kind of just like a raw thumbnail, kind of like background I like to use. This is obviously on Canva, something super simple, and it just goes step by step, right? They know it's a breakdown video because of the Miro, and then from here, we usually just make it look like it's a screen recording. So let's go to your channel, find a quick image we can use in your channel. I honestly like this angle because this is almost different to like what a lot of other people are doing, right? Yeah. Vertical. Now, the next thing that I would add to make this look as raw as possible is adding some kind of spending limit here. Let me get text. Also, I'm on 5%. Maybe I plug it in real quick. Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah.
So the most important thing here is that we're obviously repeating what's inside of the title, but also adding extra things on top. So what I would instantly just right off the top of my head would simply just be a number, right? Simple number of you spending that amount, right? Do you have a bank account where you can show your spending over the past year? Okay. Are you able to show that on the thumbnail?
Yeah, we can.
All right, perfect. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to add this right here, and we want to make the top part of the thumbnail as simple as possible and super easy for people to understand. So let's say this part, I'm obviously not going to make like the final product. You're going to see the final product at the end of the video when we post it and update you on how much money this actually cash collects. But very simple here, bank account, what do you call it? Bank account spent. And then we need to make it very clear what this has done for us. We're going to make an arrow, and this arrow, do you have a WAP dashboard where we can see the exact number that you generated during that month?
No, because I'm doing like a lot of wires and some Stripe and some WAP. So
okay, do you have a bank account where we can see all of the money coming into one account?
The bank apps, they don't even do dashboard, like it's wire business.
But can you see like a monthly report?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Perfect. So we use a monthly report from bank to show the proof, right? This is the main mechanism that we're using, right? Another thing that I'm seeing work well and that I think we should just do here specifically is having one core element inside of the thumbnail. And this is going to vary from video to video. You can't just take what we're speaking about in this video and implement it to any video. Just for top of funnel videos specifically, one core element, and then having at the bottom of the video some breakdown of Miro boards, right? Which is more so what the video itself is going to be about. So let me pull that up real quick. All right, so just to give the example here, I just added a few assets from the video that me and Hans filmed before this. But it's very simple. Obviously, we're going to customize it specifically for Hans. But just to use an example, you just put it to the bottom, right? You make it seem like there's a concept. You need to just let them know that this is a breakdown video and you're going through a Miro board. This is what people are liking to watch right now specifically. Just like the main trend that we're noticing within the market. You add it to the bottom, and then from there, we're pretty much good to go. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be the complete finished thumbnail, but this is going to give you a very good outline and a very good framework for what it could look like when we're properly uploading it. Now, in terms of generating the hook, it's usually very simple, but we're obviously following the micro niche YouTube strategy. And so we're creating Miro boards for this. Now, if you're kind of new to the channel, the way that we're creating these micro niche YouTube videos is by hiring these people called VAMOs. Now, these VAMOs are going to be people who are building these Miro boards out for the YouTube videos so that Hans can literally spend 5 minutes before the video, 10 minutes before the video, going through the Miro board real quick, start filming the videos straight away, and then based off of that, have a YouTube video and streamline the process where it's not reliant on his time anymore. So he can make one video every 3 days, one video every 4 days, instead of one video every 10 days or, a little bit more how it is right now. That's the biggest thing. But to make this VAMO make the video itself, obviously we've trained them on SOPs, we've trained them on different frameworks so that they know how to make these Miro boards, but we need to wait for them to make the Miro board before we can actually script the hook. So I'm going to make a different segment of me scripting the hook when I'm at home, when we're done building the Miro board itself. And then on the value side, it's very simple for you, Hans. All you need to do is give it access or give the VAMO access to all of your course modules, all of your YouTube videos, maybe some sales call transcript is good, some DM scripts to kind of see what the leads are like, any docs that you have around the offer to give market research. And then based on those docs, they're going to use that as a general outline to actually build the YouTube videos itself. And then obviously, if it's a niche specific video, this is like a general step-by-step framework. So it's recycled content, will be simple enough. But if it's more of a specific video, you can just film a voice note for the VA. And then the VA can go off with a voice note. You spend maybe 5 minutes on a voice note, go as in depth as you can, and they already have all of the fundamentals around the topic that you're teaching, right? So on the value side, very simple. Most of the content that you're posting anyway, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just recycled content, right? You're saying the same thing over again.
For this one, no, because we'll give new principle, but it's almost, as you
most of the time, right? And once we give these new principles, right, once we create enough step-by-step breakdown videos, obviously at some point, it's kind of going to get to the point where it's like, okay, now you have all of the key information, you're kind of just recycling it and just slowly adding little nuggets on top of what you have. And in terms of the CTA, very simple, because it's a niche breakdown video, we don't need to do anything too crazy here. It's literally just going to be simple CTA. We're going to script it out for you based on the Miro. So it's going to be at the end of the Miro. And the most important thing here is with videos like this, you don't want to feel too salesy, even though, obviously this is a top of funnel video / bottom of funnel video. So we're still focusing on conversions. That's definitely going to be a big aspect of the video, but we can't go too heavy on it, right? Because the goal of the video is to just provide value, just more than usual, right? I'd say 2 or 3 times more than usual. But based off this, we have very clear steps for the outline, right? CTA can only really be done once the Miro is done. So we have a rough outline of the thumbnail. We're going to finalize the thumbnail with the team that creates these niche YouTube videos once we're done filming this video. Obviously, we have the concept. In terms of the hook, that's only going to be done once the Miro is done. So we're going to send this title and thumbnail to the VAMO. I'm going to get Hans to prepare a voice note for the VAMO, so he's as clear as possible on what he needs to do in next steps. And then we're going to get this video filmed and uploaded, and we're going to keep you updated on exactly how much money it generates within the first week.